Hey, it's Adam here, and you're watching The Culture Hack, where we're talking about how to create engaged workspaces that unlock the potential of your teams and drive your business forward in ways you've never seen. So stay tuned.
Hey, good morning, Adam.
Brian Smith, welcome to the Culture Hack. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I'm pretty excited. I just read through your book,
Oh, excellent.
The Birth of a Brand. You have an incredible story. I was really moved by the story of the fire that kicked this whole thing.
Yeah, how about that?
So, the room was filled with smoke. You were thinking, "Oh my God, I'm not going to make it," and then you hear this voice that says, "Get up. You're meant for."
Just to set the scene for the listeners, I was in a house fire and all the doors were barred and the windows were barred because of a really bad area of Los Angeles, and the house was on fire and I thought I wasn't going to be able to get out, and the minute I thought to myself, "Oh my God, I'm dead," this voice, which was not through my eardrums and it wasn't me thinking, just said, "You haven't done enough with your life yet, Brian." Like really calm, like I'm panicking, and it's this really calm voice, and I ended up smashing all the windows out of the thing, and I eventually got out of it. I was so lucky. But the thing, Adam, is that set me on a quest and that was 45, 50 years ago. That set me on a quest of what was that voice, and I am so convinced now that God doesn't live out there at the end of the universe somewhere. There's a fragment of God in every single one of us, and it communicates with us, and it has an idea of what it wants us to do with our lives. And I've had this feeling so many times now, and it comes also in the form of goosebumps that it won't talk to me like that. That was a pretty weird moment when I was about to die, right? And the voice was really imperative, but it doesn't usually talk to me in voices. It talks to me in feelings, and it comes out almost as goosebumps. And so I've learned now that goosebumps is a very big part of me, and I know because I asked on stages, every single person on the planet gets goosebumps. And to me, it's your spirit telling you, "Hey, got the message, okay, you just did something great." And so I want to challenge all of your listeners to next time they get the goosebumps, stop and think, what the hell just happened there? And I bet you it will be something meaningful.
Well, and what struck me as I was reading the story of UGG, and as you went through, there were so many times when, by all accounts, you should have been finished.
Been over.
And you kind of put it to the universe in the same way, that you had this sort of calm, like, okay, what should I do here?
Yeah.
And something happened.
Yeah, it's infallible. That wisdom that's in us, which is that fragment of God, is very, very powerful, and it comes out. We can utilize it best when things are really in the shit, because you get desperate, you want to withdraw from everybody, you think you're Robinson Crusoe, you're the only person that's ever had these problems, and the more you can withdraw into a meditative state, and there's no science of meditation, okay? You just get in a room and be quiet. That's meditation if you want, right? And I have found that if you can take yourself away, it doesn't matter how bad the situation is. The creditors are about to sort of, file bankruptcy on you. The vendor isn't going to deliver the packaging that you need to get your income. All of these things, where if you can get into that meditative state, they all take on a different perspective and become less and less important, or more important sometimes, and you get a priority around how you're going to act. But yeah, there's an unseen helper in every single one of us that is there for us.
Well, and it struck me that even when things were good, as you were approaching, the surf shops or the
Yep.
ski shops, there was this authenticity that you always showed up with, and I think people really responded with that. So you had all this kind of good mojo in the bank, so to speak.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, but that was also, the confidence of knowing you had a good product, right? That was my saving grace. Even though I made such horrific choices and business decisions and got short-sighted on so many different things, the product was so good, the sheepskin was so good that it carried me through all of the blunders that I made from a business perspective and kept it around the next year when, another product I might have just gone out of business,
Well, it's this idea of try it on, right?
Yeah.
Put your foot in the boot. I guarantee you it's going to be sensational.
And the thing is, Adam, it's so easy to say that was the answer, but it took like 7 years for me to figure it out, right? What if I had done that on day one?
Oh my God. Well, I even went back to my team. I was like, what is our version of trying on the boot? How are people trying on the boot?
I love that, Adam. That's fantastic.
So yeah, you got a real appreciation for these boots. Of course, my daughter has a pair and my wife has a pair and everybody's
good.
Question of you about, you have this kind of spiritual way about you and your philosophy and how you approach business and all this kind of stuff. How did that translate into the culture of UGG as it grew?
It was really good in the sense that my business, keep in mind, it was very seasonal, right? For 6 months we were like on fire, and the 6 months it was dead, right? And so it was very difficult keeping a consistent staff. But there were maybe half a dozen core people, and they were what we call true believers, right? They were into UGGs, and they were diehard UGG fans, and any one of them could go out and pretty much run the business themselves because they were so invested in it. So the culture of that was really strong, and then because UGG had such a cool connotation to it, like after about 6 or 8 years, it became like this whole cult thing. And if you didn't have a pair of UGG boots at Santa Monica High or Malibu High, you just weren't one of the cool people, right? So there was a certain sachet that went with being associated with UGG. So all of our part-time people, they were dying to come and work for UGG because, it was like a young golfer wanted to go work for a golf company, there's a whole passion around the sport. And I developed that not just in surfing, but in snowboarding and skiing. And back east, I figured out how to get to the young hockey players who, would have to change their shoes at the rink and everything. UGG became a really, really big deal back east, for the same reasons as it did in surfing. So, yeah, luckily we had a bunch of true believers who just wanted to be associated with the brand.
Well, and I think that's really neat, right? It's not just like you said, the core group that are the true believers, but you built this community.
That's right.
That believed in it, right? Championing your brand wherever.
Yeah, everyone was a champion. It was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. That
and it still exists today, Adam. I mean, people approach me and tell me their UGG boot story as if it's the first pair of UGG. That they'll tell me the story of their very first pair of UGGs they got 35 years ago. Yeah. It's such a passionate brand. There are very, very few brands that are passionate 40 years later.
I love that. And last question for you as we reach the end here, but did you ever figure out what UGG means?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows, right?
There's a couple of really old guys in Australia who claim they invented that, but there is writings going back about descriptive sheepskin products, using UG or UGH or UGG, that goes back till the 40s of last century. So it's very much generic now.
Well, I would say if it was generic to begin with, you've certainly given it meaning, and if anyone is watching, check out Brian.
Oh, thank you so much, Adam. Yeah, it's a brilliant book. It's a roadmap for entrepreneurs.
Oh, I love how you equated it to the stages of growing up, right? The adolescent and the child, and
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
right? Yeah, I thought that was wonderful. And now, of course, you're doing speaking and you're on stages and things like that. Like, how can people support you?
If you have a group that you would like to have me come talk to, especially sales meetings, national marketing meetings, all that sort of stuff. If you have a company that hires speakers, I'd love you to get in touch with me, because that's really where I get to pour my passion back out into the crowds.
Okay, well, I will certainly do that, and I hope we get to meet in person one day. Thank you so much for your time, Brian. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching The Culture Hack. Do you want to chat culture and engagement? Give us a call and come on the show.